Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today on Beauty and the Bibliophile, we're going to be talking about A Stranger in the House by Shari Lapena. It did take me a little bit to read this book. I sort of lost interest a little bit in the middle, but I still wanted to know, it kept me wanting to find out what was actually going on with our main character. So we're going to get into that in just a minute, but first, of course, I want to talk about what I'm going to be doing to my face today. So I'm going to be trying out a new product. This is from IT Cosmetics. It's the Your Skin But Better CC Plus Airbrush Perfecting Powder. It says it has SPF 50 plus, UVA and UVB, sheer coverage, sheer to full coverage finishing veil. I actually got this from QVC along with the new matte CC foundation, which I've tried both of these once already. Well, maybe this one twice, because I tried this first and then I kind of paired these two together just to see how that was, and then I tried this on its own one way, and now today I'm going to be trying it with primer. Last time I tried it, I didn't wear primer because I've kind of been finding that really primer is not necessary for me. I find that my skin just doesn't really respond to whether it's gonna help control my oil or keep my foundation on or not. Really, I don't know. So just to kind of prove it to myself that I possibly just may not need a primer, I'm gonna try it with the primer today. Like I said, I tried it without the primer. I will say that my skin was, by the end of the day, without touching up, I was super oily, but it doesn't claim to be like an oil controlling type of foundation or anything. It's basically just like a finishing veil. But I used it on its own because it seemed like it had really good coverage, and it really does. So you'll see that today. I'm in the shade Light. I'm also going to be using, of course, my MAC Prep and Prime, the Radiant Rose. I'm going to be using the IT Bye Bye Pores Bronzer, the Bye Bye Pores Illumination for a little highlight maybe, and some extra highlight. I'll be using the Hello Light by IT Cosmetics. This looks like it's going to be an IT kind of day. Of course, my Anastasia Brow Gel, and I'm going to be using Benefits Roller Lash Mascara as well as my Bottom Lash Mascara. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. For blush, I'm actually going to be using this little sample from Tarte. I actually got this from Sephora for a birthday gift. So I don't know if this color is available on its own. It's called Party. But these blushes in general are really good, but I'm really liking this color because it's just a very neutral color, and it's pretty much what I'm kind of going for today. I just want to keep things just straight neutral. But anyway, I don't know if this color is actually available. I guess I should have checked that out before I started this video, but I'm going to use it today. But I will tell you that their blush in Exposed is very similar to this one. So, but I'll check that out and I'll link it down below. If I can't find this one, I'll link Exposed. For my lips today, again, probably going to keep it neutral. I'll either use my JLo's Nude, or I might use, I haven't used this in a while. This is the Josie Maran, I don't know what she calls, but it's like her Honeybee lipsticks, and this is the color Embrace It Honey. It's just a very pretty neutral nude. This used to be like my jam, kind of before I rediscovered my JLo's Nude. So I've really been wearing this a lot, but I might pop this on today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep both of them out. Like I said, just kind of want to keep it neutral. I may change my mind. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So I think that's everything I wanted to tell y'all about what I'm going to be using today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I already primed or put my primer on, my MAC primer, as well as my Urban Decay eye primer. I got my Sarah Happ Plump and Prime lips on today. And okay, yeah, that's it. So, A Stranger in the House. So it starts off with a prologue. It starts off with our main character, Karen, rushing out of an abandoned restaurant. and just driving recklessly through town, and she ends up getting in a car accident that gives her amnesia. So she, you know, she like gets really bad head trauma and ends up in the hospital, and she can't remember anything that happened that night. You know, like how convenient, right? Now she can remember like everything else, like her life in general, you know, like her husband, she knows who he is, and her friend, Bridget, and so she knows who those people are, but she just can't remember what happened as far as just that night and what led up to those events. So then we go into chapter 1, and we meet her husband Tom. Now this book is in third person, but each character has like their own either chapter or a little space in the chapter. So you get to hear it from, like, there's Karen, who is basically our main character, and then there's her husband Tom, and then there's her friend Bridget. So that's 3 right there, and then we have the detective Rashbash or Rashbash. I don't even know how to say that, but so we have him. So there's 4 point of views that we are getting this story from, and I thought that was pretty clever and interesting, because it's always fun to know like what the husband is thinking, or what, you know, like what's going on with this person, what do they think about it, instead of like the main character kind of like just giving her guesses or his guesses of what the other person is thinking. So anyway, I did like that about the book. I thought, now I'm not usually, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's first person, third person, whatever, to me, but I found this version of third person was kind of weird. It was almost like See Jane Run. It was just I don't know, I've never noticed that in another book as far as like if it was written in third person, but this one, I just noticed that a lot, and I was just kind of like, you know, I felt like I was reading like a children's book at some points, but you know, not really. I don't know. It just kind of felt like that. Like she used the characters' names, I guess, maybe way too much. But I mean, that's, you know, that's besides the point. I'm just, you know, kind of pointing that out. That's just kind of how, you know, I felt, and took the book at some points. But in the beginning, it was very interesting to read because. So it starts out like that, like it's with the prologue, and then the husband comes home, and you know she's not around, but he's like, he comes home later than he usually should, which he mentions that in that chapter, and because he's like, maybe if I wouldn't have been late doing what I was doing, and you find out later what he was doing, then maybe, you know, this could have been resolved, or this would not have happened at all. So anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So getting back to, he comes home, and it's like dinner's like kind of halfway started, and her purse is still there, her cell phone is still there. It looks like, and the door was unlocked when he got home, so it's like she left in a really big hurry, and so he's kind of like, well, this isn't her, you know. She must have like forgot something from the store when she was fixing dinner, and she ran out real quick. So he figured he'd give her a hand and go ahead and continue with dinner until she got back with whatever she needed to do or get from the store. Well, he ends up fixing himself dinner, and, you know, has a glass of wine or whatever, and like she never comes back. And this whole, you know, I'm thinking this whole time, well, you know, aren't you concerned, you know? It doesn't really hit him until like later when he's like, okay, maybe I need to call the cops, you know, because, you know, this isn't right. She never came home. I've done 8 dinner, it's late, you know, kind of thing. So he ends up calling the cops, you know, and saying that she's been missing for, you know, he doesn't know how long, because he got home at this time and she wasn't there. And so I don't know if like the cops come over, and and question him. I don't really remember. I think they do. I think they come over and question him about like how did he, you know, figure out that she was missing, and you know, it's only been so long, so I don't think they can really start looking for her. I don't know. I may be like, I'm not thinking right. But he does, you know, get the cops involved. Well, I think the cops end up finding out about the accident, or maybe the hospital calls him. See, I shouldn't wait this long to review a book because I can't remember those small little details. But somehow he finds out that Karen was in a car accident. So he rushes to the hospital. But I don't remember if like the hospital called him or if the detective called him. I really don't remember. Or maybe when the detectives came. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to go back and like figure this out because that was going to bother me. So he ended up like calling around to all Karen's friends to see if they had seen her. And then he decides to call 911. But in the meantime, while he's doing all that, we switch over to like the detective, and he's at the car accident with Karen, and they don't really know who she is because she doesn't have identification on her. They do get like her insurance and stuff out of the glove compartment or whatever, and they find out her name then. So that's when the detectives rush over to her home to tell her husband. So he has just called 911, and like he just hangs up the phone, and then the detective's at the door, and he's like, wow, that was fast, you know, because I just called 911. He's like, no, well, sir, we're here because we need to tell you about your wife or whatever. So that ends at that, and then the next chapter kind of goes to this abandoned restaurant. So you have these kids, and apparently it's in a bad sort of town. You have these kids like coming around, going through all these old, I guess they're like old buildings or whatever, and they run across a dead body. And so of course they take everything. There's no gun there at that time. They take like his wallet, his watch. Apparently he's a very wealthy man, because he's wearing like a really nice like shirt and tie and some dress pants, and they take his shoes. So they pretty much take everything that they think is going to be of value. And so you kind of learn what's in this restaurant that Karen was running away from. Well, pretty much after that, it kind of got a little boring for me because it was just like he said, she said kind of thing. And then I got really aggravated with like the husband because he was like, I don't believe my wife. I don't know whether she's really has amnesia. I don't know what to believe. I don't know whether she's lying to me, to the cops, Sorry, my camera cut off without me knowing. I guess because I'm just yapping away. But all I did was bronze up my face a little bit. That's really it. So that's all you missed. Well, I'll have to go back and kind of see where we left off. So I was talking about Tom not believing Karen. So that really kind of annoyed me. And I don't know. And other things he did that you find out in the end or towards the end of the book really kind of got me. But then I didn't know whether I sort of like felt for him. But then I was just like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. If I was, of course, I'm a woman, so, I look at it differently. I can't tell you what a man would think. But if I was in that situation, I would not go out and do what he did. I wish I could tell you what it is, but I just, and you can probably kind of guess what it is. But the way he went about it and the way he told the cops and Karen about it, while she's in prison. Now, she eventually does end up in prison for the murder of this guy, because after she comes home from the hospital, they start another like detective on like this case with the dead body. They kind of like get together with Detective Rashbash or whatever his name is, and they kind of start putting things together. So then they go to her and you know, show her pictures of this man and everything. Well, she does recognize him, but she doesn't tell the cops. And before she goes to prison, she does start to remember a little bit about that night. Like, she's remembering like getting this phone call from someone that she never thought she would hear from again, and she remembers, you know, just dropping everything and going and leaving and going to meet up with this person. But you don't really get why. Why would she do this until like towards the end? Which towards the end it starts to get really good. It's just in the middle where they're just kind of hopping around. You know, do we believe her? Do we not believe her? And Tom's like just, to me, being just like a jerk about the whole situation. Like I said, I didn't know, while I was reading the book and reading his point of view, I didn't know how to take him, you know, because like I said, you know, I'm a woman, I'm not a man, so I don't know what was going, you know, what was truly going through his head. You know, I'm just kind of, as I'm reading Tom's point of view, I'm just like I'm just not getting it. You know, I'm just like, I don't know. I would not do that. And I would not think that way. I would, you know, I would be married to this person. I would be by their side no matter what, you know. I don't know. But anyway, so you learn, so like I said, the middle is just kind of like up and down for me. So it was hard for me to kind of pick it up. And you do learn about Bridget, who claims to be Karen's best friend. She doesn't really like her husband. They are kind of always just like not in cahoots with each other. I don't know. They're very cold to each other. And you find out that she likes to knit, and she has a knitting blog. And then the more you get to know her, the creepier she gets, because she has a chair in front of her window, and she sits there and knits and watches across the street where Karen and Tom live, just watches them. And that's just kind of creepy to know that, you know, maybe my neighbor's like looking out across the street at me and just like watching my every move and trying to figure out. It was almost kind of like the woman in the window, this Bridget chick. She was constantly at her window, looking across the street at Karen and Tom's house, like wondering what's going on. So you find out a little bit more about her later on, and that's kind of when it starts to get interesting for me. And just like, I was just kind of like, I don't know, like, what are you doing? You know, like when the husband would talk about what he's doing, and I just like wanted to go through the pages and just like wring his neck. So all in all, I mean, the book it is good. It is good because the ending has quite a little twist on it. I mean, it's nothing like groundbreaking or anything, but it does have a little bit of twist. And I just kind of thought, like, wow, that was really clever of the author. But yeah, it does have like this fun little twist at the end that I was super, super impressed with. But before it almost kind of reminded me of like a Sleeping with the Enemy type of vibe. But you find out that Karen's not like this vulnerable, you know, wife running away from her abusive husband. It's not really about, you kind of think maybe it's kind of like that for a little while, but then that's where the twistiness comes in, and it just kind of like, I was really impressed by it. So to say the least, I really liked the ending, and kind of how it ended though. it does leave you hanging. So I was thinking, oh, there's got to be like a sequel, right? But her next book, you have a little bit of it in this book, and I read a little bit of it, and it has nothing to do with this book here. It's called An Unwanted Guest. So I do have this on my list now because it does sound really good. And I also have The Couple Next Door from this author as well that I need to read. I was actually going to read that next, but for some reason I really wanted to start another book, which I'll talk briefly about in the end. So yeah, like I said, the ending kind of leaves you hanging, and you're just kind of like, oh shit. But so you know, I'm not disappointed that there's not going to be a book about that. But I just thought, once again, I just thought that was really clever of the author, because I have yet to read something that has kind of ended like that for me. So that was really clever. So that's pretty much it. If I, you know, as any other books that I review, if I say too much, I'm going to give it all away. But, you know, I just like to kind of talk about it and kind of give y'all a little bit of what it's about, and like if you would be interested in something like that. But I really enjoyed the book. Like I said, if it wouldn't have been for just that kind of boring part in the middle where they were trying to figure out if she was guilty or not, and like I said, he said, she said kind of thing. They were bringing, they really didn't have many witnesses until the end, and they bring her in, which I'm not going to talk too much about because it's kind of like the whole point of the ending right there. But yeah, I do like it. I did like it. I'm gonna give it like 4 stars maybe, because that ending like really got me. Like when I got closer to the ending, I really didn't want to put it down. So, but it was fairly a short book. It was like 300 something pages, but it took me probably about a month to read. When I did my book haul video, I had just kind of started it when I filmed that. So I had kind of pre-filmed a bunch of videos because I knew I had a lot going on. So it looks like I might have finished it fast, but I really didn't. It took me probably about a month to finish this video. I mean, to finish the book. Wow, a month to finish a video? Can you imagine? Yeah, to finish the book. Now, the book I'm reading now is called The Chemist by Stephanie Myers. I've been having this book on my shelf well, really, it's been in my bathroom because I like to take long bubble baths and read my books. It's been sitting there all by its lonesome, and I've been bringing in other books. And I kind of started it earlier part of the summer, and it really did grab me right in the beginning. But for some reason, I started reading other books. I don't know. I get distracted sometimes, and I'm like, well, I want to read this now. So I had kind of put it down. It's just been sitting there. Well, I picked it back up, and wow. I'm already, when did I pick it up? About 4 days ago, and I'm already like 12 chapters in, and it's like I want to read more. Like I can't wait to like when I'm able to sit down and read. And that's when I really love a book. And her writing is really good. If y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all know she did the Twilight Saga, or which I enjoyed. A lot of people did not like it. Of course, Bella was annoying to me. She really was. My Bella is named after that Bella because I loved those books as well as those movies. But after the whole Twilight thing, she wrote The Host, and that was really good too. And I watched the movie, and it was good too. So I knew her writing was going to be good, but I guess I just wasn't quite ready for it. I don't know. But now that I'm into it, I really like it. So that's probably going to be my next book review. And as far as like Audible, I've actually been listening to podcasts lately, but because I kind of wait on my credits, but I have more credits. So I think I'm going to listen to Ruth Ware's The Death of Miss Westbury. Am I saying that right? The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. I don't know. I might start listening to that today. It's got some good reviews, 4.4 stars. So that's what I got going on. I'm also reading, or will be reading, next week. I have a readathon, but I think I'm going to do an individual video about that and talk about the books that I'm going to try to read. It's a challenge type thing, to where you pick these books according to the challenges and you get them read. See if you can get them read. I mean, you know, you don't have to, but it's just a challenge for yourself. And I just always like it. It's fun to pick the books like under the certain categories that she gives out, and see if you can read them during that whole week. So we shall see how I do. I usually cannot make it. I've done this readathon twice so far already, and like she offers them like about 3 or 4 times during the year. And so the next one is next week, and then she's doing another one in like October, I believe. Or is it October? Yeah, I think so. But anyway, so yeah, it's just a fun little challenge, but I think I'm gonna do a separate video on that. So that's it. I knew I didn't have much to say about this book because it is sort of like a smaller type book. And it didn't really have much going on, and like I said, the middle was just kind of like, you know, it's almost like something that you have to go through to kind of get to the end, to like really understand what the ending's going to be about. So it was kind of like one of those things. So you had to get through that part, and it wasn't bad. It was just uninteresting to me, I guess. I don't know. You might like it. So I would definitely, you know, maybe give this book a try if it's maybe been on in your to-do stack, but I really enjoyed it. Right at the end, like I said, it really it gave me like a nice little twist there. I'm going to go ahead and decided to use my Josie Marin today, just because it's been a while. These do kind of give you like a little bit of a sting when you put them on. It's nothing bad. It's supposedly infused with like honeybee something. So it gives you that little sting of like a plumping a lipstick, but it goes away. My niece tried it and she's like, I don't feel anything. So it's very, very subtle. All right, that is it, y'all. So I've kind of actually been really liking this product. It really reminds me of their Celebration Foundation. It really does. But at the end of the day, I find that it's a little bit of a lighter coverage. It's not that it's, I mean, it covered beautifully. And I really, you know, I really do like the way it covers. I like the way it looks. It does give that like, you've got a good foundation on, but it's not too much. And like at the end of the day with the Celebration Foundation, I find on me, a lot of people love the Celebration Foundation, and it's, you know, it's supposedly a foundation that's not supposed to like sink into your cracks and kind of like start breaking down, but on me it does. I don't know if it's just because I'm super oily, but by the end of the day, I just don't like the way it looks on my face. But I like the foundation. So I keep going back to it. But now that I've discovered my MAC foundation, that's what I've usually been grabbing towards. But for this one, it's more of just a soft finish. And by the end of the day, although I'm super greasy, because that's just me, I find that it doesn't have that cakey look, or it hasn't really seeped into my fine lines. It's actually like just still there and actually still looks pretty. But I'm just super greasy. So if you're not super greasy, this would work wonders for you. I mean, I still love it, even being an extra oily girl. I still love it as far as like just an everyday kind of just put something on to make me look like I've, you know, really done my makeup. But yeah, I've really been liking it, and I really did enjoy this book, even though, you know, it took me a little bit to read it. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias. I'm mostly on Instagram. Of course, come and follow me on Goodreads. I try to keep up with all my reviews there and what I'm reading and what I want to read and things like that. So come check me out there. And that's it, y'all. I hope y'all have a great weekend, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.